Mercedes-Benz Stars and Cars 2015 was going to be a phenomenal event in the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Stuttgart. First to show on track, it was going to be Hamilton and Hakkinen, and the preparations already getting underway. The first cars we were going to see out on track, these awesome Mercedes-Benz cars that would take part, the AMG A45, in the first heats that we were going to see to find out who would become the Stars and Cars 2015 champion. So up first of all, it was Mika Hakkinen and Lewis Hamilton, two absolute legends in the world of Formula One. Slight difference in ages, of course. That mattered not when it came to the competition, because boy, these guys were going to put on a show and do their level best. Of course, Hamilton having the slight advantage of age on his side, but Mika Hakkinen has lost none of his aggression and none of his desire to be a winner as well. Interestingly, the two were joking before they went out on track, trying to out-psych each other. And on track, you can see just how close it was going to be between the two of them. So Mika Hakkinen and Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton showing Mika Hakkinen a clean pair of heels, but it was only 5/10 or so, and in the second part of this heat, that could be made up. There's no question about that. This track designed and created by Herman Tilke specifically for the Stars and Cars event was going to throw some interesting battles together during the course of the evening, and this, the very first of those to show. Lewis Hamilton versus Mika Hakkinen out there on track in these Mercedes AMG A45 4MATIC cars. Each and every driver that was taking part used these to begin, and Lewis Hamilton laid down the gauntlet straight away. Pretty happy with the victory and celebrated with some donuts.
Lewis won. What do you say?
It was amazing. It was such a great fun, you know. Yeah, good fun, you know. But gentleman is gentleman.
Yeah, congratulations. But that was pretty tight, wasn't it? Did you think it would be that tight?
Oh my God. It was really good fun, and such a privilege to be racing up against Mika, you know, a complete legend in the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're looking forward to the next round then?
I am. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, so.
Are you serious?
He said he'd been training.
Well, you were training.
I had to practice more, you know. He's a 3 times world champion, only twice.
You had some time to practice, so how was it like to drive in the arena for the first time? It was quite tight and I enjoyed it, and now I'm looking forward to the race. Okay, do you think you stand a chance against Nico Rosberg? Well, we're going to see. Okay, my first interview with you was fun, so we're going to see how the first race is going to be with you here. And
so Mick Schumacher then, who's had a stellar year in ADAC Formula 4, was pitted up against Nico Rosberg. And the reason for the two showing together is because that's what the fans voted. Of course, the fans decided before the event who would be pitted up against who, and Mick Schumacher was certainly determined to do his level best out on track. Once again, the cars being used, the Mercedes AMG A45 4MATICs. So Nico Rosberg and Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher in his single-seater season this year, his very first single-seater season, having come up from karts, and is thrown straight into the spotlight as Gary Paffett, Pascal Wehrlein and Toto Wolff look on. He's part of the Mercedes Stars and Cars event. And it was Rosberg that had the lead of some 1.6 seconds, so work to do for Mick Schumacher. And he went about the task with all the enthusiasm and all the driving precision that you would expect from a young superstar on the way his motorsport career. But Nico Rosberg's experience and superiority, even though he got quite a lot of understeer through that turn, it was always likely that he was going to head towards the timing line and take the victory. And Nico Rosberg did that, defeating Mick Schumacher by 1.8 seconds. Rosberg celebrates. Schumacher, though, should be very proud of what he did out there on track in Stars and Cars. A celebration of a phenomenal season for Mercedes-Benz. Next up, we change the cars to the GTS. And it's the semi-final of Pascal Wehrlein and Lewis Hamilton, DTM versus Formula One. Which would be the superior series here in the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Stuttgart. Battling with oversteer from the rear end of the car. The car's looking and sounding absolutely phenomenal. In excess of 30,000 fans crammed into the stadium to watch these heavyweights at work in this specially constructed track built just for Stars and Cars. And it was Pascal Wehrlein who was leading, DTM beating Formula One. Perhaps not expected, but once Pascal Wehrlein had got his nose in front, Lewis Hamilton was going to have to do an awful lot of work to claw his way back. And try as he might, throwing absolutely everything at this GTS car. They rounded the final turn virtually neck and neck. Who was it going to be? And by 9/100ths of a second, it was Pascal Wehrlein. So Wehrlein defeating the Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton. So DTM champion beats F1 champion. And he was pretty happy about it.
Natürlich erstmal kurz den Arm nehmen.
Okay, let's embrace him.
We need a rematch on the stop sides. Okay, afterwards.
No, we need a rematch in the F1 car.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm cool with that.
Ja, da sind wir wieder beim Thema. Aber
Okay, this brings us back to the topic. But first of all, congratulations, Pascal. So you're going to be one of the racers in the final. So you got the better start, and this is why you won the race, this race. So how did it feel?
Yeah. Ich war deutlich schneller am Start.
Well, I think I was much faster when I started, and in the last round I managed to hit the wall slightly, just a little bit. I think it was really a tight race, so I think this was really an exciting race.
The next semi-final would once again pitch an F1 star up against a DTM star. It's Nico Rosberg and Daniel Juncker-Deyer as they go to battle in this semi-final, once again driving these awesome GTS cars. And the action was no less fierce in this semi-final as well. Is it unthinkable to have an all-DTM final with no Formula One representation? Well, as this semi-final played out, Daniel Juncker-Deyer clearly having the drive of his season. Nico Rosberg doing everything he could to keep on terms with Daniel Juncker-Deyer, but the Spaniard Daniel Juncker-Deyer from DTM and Nico Rosberg from F1, and Juncker-Deyer with an advantage of just under 7/10 at the halfway stage in this semi-final. Was the unthinkable perhaps going to happen? Were we going to see an all-DTM final? Well, the remaining lap was tight. Turn, once again, the finish was oh so close, but it did go the way of the DTM star Daniel Juncker-Deyer by 8/10, beating Nico Rosberg. Well, he was chuffed to bits with that victory, and it meant in prospect then an all-DTM final. Daniel Juncker-Deyer would be up
Well,
against
of course I'm
Pascal
disappointed. I
Wehrlein.
would have liked to be in the final, but he just drove faster, and I did not have the best race of my life. It was really fun nevertheless. And unfortunately, well, I would have liked to drive the car in the final, but that's just the way it is, and now I'm going to watch it.
Well, the look of focus on Daniel Juncker-Deyer then, as we reach the final of Stars and Cars 2015, driving the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT3 cars. The engine note rose and the cars roared away in battle. So Pascal Wehrlein, the DTM champion, up against Daniel Juncadella, who would be the 2015 Stars and Cars champion. Well, inevitably, Daniel Juncadella was super smooth, and Pascal Wehrlein appeared to be bothered by the rearward loose behavior of his car, as you can see there, as he piled the opposite lock on to try and control the car. Daniel Juncadella's smooth and precision seemed to be really working to the degree of a 1 second margin between the two of them. So could Daniel Juncadella beat the DTM champion Pascal Wehrlein? Well, as they rounded to complete another lap, the gap is clear to see that Daniel Juncadella, the Spaniard, was driving a supreme race in this Stars and Cars finale. It got ever so close as they headed towards the final turn, but it was going to be Daniel Juncadella that became the Stars and Cars champion for 2015, defeating the 2015 DTM champion Pascal Wehrlein. So Daniel Juncadella absolutely chuffed to bits with that. And why not indeed? The youngest ever DTM champion beaten by Daniel Juncadella. DTM competitor in Stars and Cars 2015. It goes the way of the Spaniard, Daniel Juncadella. And he jumps atop the car to celebrate in front of all the fans here in the arena.
I would like to congratulate you to your success. I'm really impressed, so congratulations.
2015 has been a phenomenal year for Mercedes-Benz, and Stars and Cars proved to be a fitting finale to a great year as all the champions stood atop of the podium. What an event. Bye-bye.